Well, man, thanks for coming down to hang out and be a part of the show.
My pleasure.
I know things have been busy. We've kind of peak, especially in your business, peak construction time with all the residential stuff, has been booming. I don't know if it's still booming.
Yeah, I thought it might slow down a little bit, but get phone calls every day for something.
Yeah, is it still just going strong? And
I mean, there's a few, we've just got a big backlog right now. So we have, I think, at least a dozen pretty good sized houses going, probably 3 or 4 more starting.
Really?
So we've got a lot going, and, we have a limited capacity because I like to stick with the subs that I have. I don't really like to get new subs because I've got a really good relationship with the ones I have, and it's just I get more accomplished with the ones that I have rather than trying to get new ones trained. So I just stick with what I got and turn away work I can't make happen with the guys I have.
Well, I mean I think that approach keeps you're managing your quality. You know what you're going to get. There's not a surprise that all of a sudden you bring in some new firm and you've got problems.
That's exactly right.
They sold you something that they couldn't deliver.
Yep.
So how are you advertising? Is it just word of mouth? I mean, Ashwood Homes, you got a big billboard?
I don't have any, no billboards. All I've got is just word of mouth. I mean, I've built probably three houses at the most for one client. They, build a house, live in it for 3 or 4 years, and then they sell it because they either upgrade or they just want something different.
Yeah.
So I've done that for one client 3 times. I've got a couple other clients I've built houses for twice. And then it's just, word of mouth. I've got a lot of realtors that I've done a lot of stuff for, so they feed me a lot of work.
Well, nice.
I mean, remodels, I try to keep away from remodels, but I've got a couple really good realtor friends. If they send me a remodel, it's usually, they know what I'm kind of looking for. I don't want to just come in and do a small bathroom remodel or something like that. It's usually a complete renovation, maybe add a building outside, add a big porch, things like that. So we try to stick with the bigger stuff at this point. I mean, when I was just me, it was just me and my subs. Now I have a few guys that work for me, but when it was just me, I'd take anything. I mean, anything I could get my hands on.
You're building a business.
Yeah.
Put bread on the table.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
So tell me a little bit about Ashwood. What the genesis of Ashwood? What got you into the construction world? Did you grow up?
No, I didn't. I mean, no, I didn't. Didn't grow up doing any type of building. My dad had us add on to our house growing up one time because we were, they had 4 kids and we each shared a small room, so there were 2 of us in each room. And we added on to one side of our house, but he had no idea. We had no idea what we were doing, how we were doing it. As a matter of fact, after I started building, probably 12, 13 years after I'd already been building, I went up. I go up and visit my mom in South Dakota once or twice a year. And this one summer I went up there and visited, and she had me look at their house because there were some issues on the side that we had built. And I said, well, that's not surprising. So I started taking some siding off, and I get in there and I look at it, and we had, instead of any type of ventilated sheathing, we ended up putting plastic over the walls.
Why not?
Before
Out,
siding.
Right?
So once I started digging into it, I got back behind the plastic, and everything behind it was rotten.
Oh,
I don't even know how it was still standing. So we ended up tearing her house down and building her a new one at that point.
Oh, wow.
So
Right. Well, that's good.
But before that, I actually went to college for. I have a degree in industrial technology, and then I took a lot of construction classes in college.
Okay.
And I was a teacher. It was just me and my wife. We didn't have kids yet, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I'd go to school, I'd teach from 7 to 2 every day, and then, you can only play so much golf after that.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of golf after 2, and, I thought, what, I want to try to just do something else, fill my time after school. So I took, I'd studied a little bit more, took a few classes down in Houston, on building and what did I go to? I went to a school they had there it was called Builders Academy, I think. I mean,
Really?
this was 23 years ago.
We need a builder's academy.
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
out there.
It was really good though. I
We need
mean,
another one.
it was the basics of, houses, how they were put together,
Really?
stud framing, electrical, plumbing, foundations, everything, and different techniques. Really cool
So
class.
it was like a little trade school that you signed up for?
Yeah, it was
building?
just at night. It was
Okay.
for about, God, it was probably maybe 2 or 3 months long, and 3 nights a week, I think.
That's
From a big, he was a builder in Houston for a long, long time. I can't even remember the guy's name, anyways. But anyway, that's kind of where I learned, and then I just
Time and experience from that.
exactly built my first spec house and sold it. In fact, it was in Walden. This
Really?
was when Spencer he and I were partners at the time.
Okay.
So we built that first one. He helped do the concrete, I helped do the concrete, but we were doing everything ourselves. We did all the landscaping, we did all the sprinklers, we
Wow.
did the grading, brought all the lumber
True
to the job.
self-performed
Yeah.
builder.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do the framing and the electrical, but
yeah.
we were there every single day, watching it progress. And but it was definitely a learning experience. I know we put the roof on, and it was a brick house. We put the roof on, and we weren't, like I said, we were brand new. We'd never done it before. So, when it comes to flashing and brick and shingles, there's a technique you have to do in order to make sure the water doesn't get behind the brick. So you have to do a certain type of flashing. We didn't know that. So we're at the end, and our brick guy's like, hey, we need to make sure we put that flashing on there. So
Okay.
something we learned, something we learned on the fly,
You
but
do that before
that-
you put the brick up.
that's right. That's
After the
right.
brick's up, that's a tough.
Well, no, it was after. It's a cut in. It's a
Oh,
cut
it's
in.
a cut
Cut
in.
in flashing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we obviously had flashing behind the brick
Yeah.
out onto the roof, but you have to have that cut in flashing too. So, anyways, we just learned on the fly, and then I was still teaching, and pretty soon my wife had a lot to do with my business. She has a lot. She's really good at like marketing, and she's in a lot of business networking and things like that. So every time somebody asks about somebody to build a house, she obviously says, hey, my husband could do it, So actually the first real contract house I got was through a friend of hers. Yeah. And it was a pretty cool house. It was down by on the opposite side of the Woodlands back there. There's a acreage subdivision back there, kind of behind Home Depot, where Home Depot is now. Home Depot wasn't there when I was doing it, but
What
it
year was this? Early
2003,
Okay.
2004, somewhere. I think 2003. I didn't have an office, didn't have anything. I think I met these folks at. I think our first meeting was actually at Lone Star Community College at the library. That's where I met. That's where I met them.
Just a close spot to
Yeah,
meet, or
yeah,
they worked
exactly.
together?
Well, they were kind of in the area, and I knew where that Lone Star stuff was, so I just
Cool.
we pay for it, so I thought I'm going to go use it.
When did you first move down to Houston from?
97, 97. Yep.
And you weren't married, or were
Oh
you?
yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
were
I
married,
had been married for 7 years by then.
Oh,
No,
wow.
8 years. No,
So you
7
all
years.
met up north.
Oh, we grew up together. I've known my wife since first grade.
Oh, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we've been married 32 years now. It'll be 33 years or 32 years this year. Yeah, yeah.
cool.
So, but we didn't have kids until I was 32.
okay. So you
It-
got down here and you were teaching,
Yeah.
and then decided, hey, I'm gonna go try
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I actually taught for just about 3 years, and then just took the leap. We had 2 or 3 houses to build, and school's pretty. It's a good job. It's very. You don't really have anything to worry about because you're going to get paid. You just got to do your job, and you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
You go off on your own, you got to get jobs to
That's
get
right.
paid.
You gotta keep winning them and
Exactly.
executing. It's another
Yeah.
level of,
Yeah.
Of risk,
It,
for sure.
That's exactly right. And we had our struggles,
Yeah.
probably the first 5 years we were lucky. Maybe made as much as I did teaching, maybe. But, I didn't have the benefits. I had to pay for my own health insurance, everything else that comes with it.
that's, to have someone supporting you and and telling
Yeah.
you to stick with it.
Yeah. Well, my wife was working too. She had a good job, so that obviously helped. And we didn't have kids at the time either. So,
Okay.
Well, we had Max in 2004, so it was really close to the time.
So do you have any of your vendors or subs that are still working with you, that work with you?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. Same framer. My framers did the first house for me,
Yeah.
and he's still doing my houses ever since. He actually went to South Dakota and built my mom's house.
Wow.
He
really?
he went to South Dakota. Well, he just framed, obviously, but he went to
Didn't make
South
him go in the
Dakota.
wintertime.
No, it was summertime. It was
He would've
summertime.
been like,
He went up.
dude, what are you
Yeah.
doing to me, man?
It was May. I mean, it was cold.
It's still probably
Oh
cold in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
put a
It was
jacket
it was
on.
in the low 30s, 20s sometimes.
wow.
Yeah. So, but it's a little different building up there than it is down here. You don't just put a slab on grade. You actually have to dig down 4 feet and put a basement in basically. Otherwise, your freeze protection and all that stuff. So, it was a learning curve up there for me, but I didn't really do a whole lot. I came up and helped him do the foundation, and then we did the framing and dried it all in.
Sure.
And then my brothers up there, they had friends that were electricians, and they did all the electrical,
Everybody kinda
plumbing,
came
and all that
together to
stuff.
make it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. I think that's actually the fastest house I ever built.
Really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
we started framing that house in I think early May,
Yeah.
and she moved into that thing I think the end of July.
Oh, wow.
And it's a pretty good size house. It's 20, maybe 2,200 square
Yeah.
feet, but yeah.
How cool is that to be able to give something like that back to
Oh, yeah.
your parents?
Yeah.
After they put up with all the stuff.
Exactly.
While you were
Exactly.
growing up.
I did a bid on her house because I could do, bids down here. Like I said, though, I learned quick that bids here and bids there are completely different. I think we were over budget on her house by about 25, 30 grand.
Wow.
So,
Just the trades are more expensive. labor's
yeah.
More expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. If you can compete for work in Houston, you can compete anywhere.
That's exactly right.
This is about the cheapest
Yep.
markets. you can
Yep.
build in.
For sure.
So as you've kind of scaled the home building side, I know you also do some commercial work as well that you've tried to kind of balance in the
Yeah.
your backlog. What's been the strategy there?
Well, I never really planned on doing commercial. I just kind of, my electrician that I've had ever since I started too. I think he's been our electrician since the get-go.
Wow.
He actually did work for it's a kind of a medical device company, and he did all their electrical work. One day he had the facility manager call me up and say, "Hey, can you guys come put a door in this clean room?" And I thought, "Oh man, I don't know, I don't know."
How about that?
So I go in there and look at it, and it's a clean room, but not like a major clean room. It's still so we had to vacuum seal
Still
everything,
clean,
and
it's just not that clean.
exactly, yeah,
It's just-
yeah. No, it's a straight up legitimate clean room at this point, but back then it was a little bit different. So, but I thought, going into it, hey, this is a clean room. This is, I got to be real careful. I got to get everything, balanced out, the air pressure in there, and the air pressure out here. I can't get anything in between. I mean, really, it was just putting a fire door in, so they had a fire access out. So it was really a simple job, but it was the first one we'd ever done of that type.
Sure.
So from then on, we've built clean rooms for this same company.
Wow.
We've done big molding rooms. We've put in. We've actually separated one whole side of their warehouse from the other side and put in a big molding facility. They have these giant molding presses that they press their product in.
Sure.
They have big extruders in there that make plastic extruded
Like
medical equipment. We built a room for that within the room. So that's really just something that fell into our lap.
Yeah.
And
So it hasn't been something you've actively marketed, but it's
No.
been something just through contacts and relationships, and somebody says, "Hey, Doug, I got this project."
well, and believe it or not, there's actually a pretty good correlation on the residential side because you'll be doing stuff for people that actually have commercial buildings that they own.
Yeah, they own the buildings or their own
So
businesses. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So they'll be like, "Hey, I didn't know you did that. Could you come look at this?" And we go look at it and we do it, and we do
it's
little.
kind of come through,
It
the relationships on the home building side.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, we don't do we do a lot of stuff for that one company,
Yeah.
And then we do, that's probably 80% of my commercial side. And then maybe 20% for other folks. We do a little bit of work for you guys on little things here and there, but yeah.
You guys have some special skills that we have a hard time.
Well, wood framing comes into play every once in a while. Yeah. Yeah. That's,
it just hasn't been, it's just not a common thing that we encounter.
yeah.
And so it's funny because when we do, it's like, who are we going to call? Let's call Doug.
Yeah.
Doug
see,
can take
see,
care.
he's got somebody. Yeah, no, and what we love doing that type of stuff because my sheetrock guys they're super good guys. They're real good friends, and it's a bunch of brothers.
Okay.
They have 5 or 6 brothers that work together, and man, I have not found anything yet that they won't do or try to do at least. I've have them. They're over, when we do that medical device company we work for, they have, big groups come in and tour. They're a worldwide company. So when they have executives come in and look everything over, we go through and clean everything up and paint everything. And
Sure.
not that it's not like that before they come in, but we kind of highlight things before they get there. And, I have them on lifts cleaning spider webs out of rafters in metal buildings. My sheetrock guys.
Well,
so
those are all things that are hard to find.
Yeah.
How do you find someone that's going to come do some of this stuff?
Exactly.
You've got to lean on somebody who's got to
Mm-hmm.
say, they have the labor and the equipment, and a lot of it's just, are you willing to come
That's right.
do this for me? I'm willing to pay for it. I
Eggs.
just need someone to come do it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And they'll come Saturday, Sunday. Last Sunday, for instance, I have another same thing, commercial job through a homeowner that he had a friend that wanted to do a little renovation on a building before they moved into it. So we looked at it, bid the job, got the job, and my sheetrocker was working, believe it or not, cleaning spider webs on Saturday. And then on Sunday, about 1:30 or so, he gives me a call. He says, "Hey, we're ready to start that commercial job on a Sunday." I'm like, well, I don't have a dumpster there, but I could probably get my dump trailer down there. And so sure enough, there he is. And I'm like, I'm not going to hold you back. So bring the dump trailer down there, and they knocked the whole thing out. They got it all demoed in one afternoon. So then we were able to bring other guys in and work everything else through.
It's neat hearing these stories because one of the things that we're trying to always emphasize to new guys that are joining the company or getting into the industry is your subcontractor relationships are the most important relationships that you have. And sometimes we have guys that have that attitude that I'm going to, you're working for me, I'm going to, push you and beat on you and make you X, Y, Z. And that approach doesn't work.
Does not work.
You're going to need a favor, and you're going to need to lean on them just like they lean on you for future work. And it really has to be a partnership.
For sure.
While you're executing.
Yep.
Otherwise, if we have no sub base and we don't have guys that are willing to do it, then you're back to the old days where you're out there putting everything in yourself.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't scale a business.
No.
You can't be all the trades on all the projects.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have those subcontractor relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And the other, it's subcontractors and subcontractors that you have a history with, I think is the biggest, that's the most important thing in my opinion, because, you can get guys in there that'll come in and just mess stuff up and it's cost you twice as much to fix it.
We see that all the time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going into a tricky project, we do some remote work and we try to lean on guys that we know will come and deliver and there's been times here recently even where we went out with a new company or a new vendor we hadn't worked with and all of a sudden we got a problem and the problem's not in Houston, the problem's across the state of Texas.
Exactly.
And it's hard to go fix it.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people out there.
Yeah. Sometimes it costs a little bit more to get your guys out there, but it saves money in the long run, I think. Just like the hotel out in New Mexico, we sent Antonio out there to put all the cabinets together and install, did paint or whatever we had him do out there. But it cost a little more to do it, but I think in the long run it probably saved some money.
As you've kind of scaled and grown your business over time, what are some of the core things that you think have been key to being successful in your business?
Being flexible and just you got to work. You just got to work. You can't, you can use an excuse. Well, it's Sunday or Saturday. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go do this. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no, and you'll see the people that are successful are the ones that are doing that type stuff.
Sure.
And I'm not bragging that I'm successful or,
Sure.
but I feel like I've
have
done
an
pretty
ongoing
good, but it's
business
been
for
20
20
years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Success. Most
But it's
companies
still,
don't make out of
you,
year two.
exactly. You still have the, even 20 years in, you still have the same kind of, you still have the same issues no matter what, even after 20 years.
Well, I think
I just find my issues are more office issues, not necessarily issues, just I'm in the office more than I'm
you've
in
got
the field
a
anymore.
lot more administrative stuff.
Exactly,
As you get
yeah.
bigger and things get more customers, more paperwork.
That's right. Yeah, you got to make sure the bids are right. Good look at, you have to look over every bid because it's easy for some, I've got a spreadsheet and it tells me, how much it's going to cost from putting a shovel in the ground to turning the key to the front door. But it's, all activated off different scopes here and there, but just one number in the wrong spot makes a big difference at the end of the, the bottom of the spreadsheet. So yeah, I just try to look over every single one of those and make sure, I look at the numbers because I've got a pretty good idea of what that should be based on the square footage. And if I see something that's, off a little bit, I can easily see what it is and make the adjustment in the square footage or wherever the mistake
I
was.
was going to ask you about the administrative side because you've kept your business from an organization pretty tight.
Yeah,
and, and which puts more responsibility on you for everything from project management to estimating to accounting.
That's
you've got to oversee a lot of that stuff, which gives you more visibility and control, but also takes away from other things that you could be doing in the field or developing new customers.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, I just do it that way because I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm a control freak or something. I don't know, but I just have to see it. I just have to be on top of it. I guess I'm not real.
You always, with that approach, you always kind of know where you're at.
Yeah.
And it's we've gone through it. I've gone through it just over the last few years where as we've scaled, we've got more people doing more things and you have less visibility into exactly what's going on. And sometimes if you don't have the right systems in place, a lot can happen before you figure out, we got a problem over here. And so, you become more dependent on systems than your own kind of capabilities.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's a little bit scary, going down that road. In fact, as you go through these ebbs and flows in the business cycle, I mean, there's going to be great times when you think like you're on top of the world, and then there's other times when you're like,
the bottom's falling out.
I hope I make it to next week.
That's right.
And
that's exactly right.
You learn through that whole process and make adjustments. And I'm not going to lie, there's times when I'm like, man, I wish I was Doug right now. Because he's got a lot more insight and control on his world. And, I got to make 60 phone calls. To figure out what's going on.
No, and I try to keep it. I'm kind of to the point where I try to keep my work in a certain area now. I don't really try to move down into the Houston area. I try to stay up north more than as much as I can. Obviously, if a client comes and they want to do something here or do something there that I'm familiar with or comfortable with, we'll go do it. But somebody new that comes, I would probably pass on it just because I've got a lot of stuff that we've been working on up there and some new projects coming through that are going to keep us in that area for a pretty significant amount of time.
Yeah, I think we are. We're very fortunate to be where we are.
Oh, no doubt about it.
In Montgomery County, Texas, where the growth has been and will continue to be, by all indications, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
and it's a good place to live. The culture's good, and you can have fun and work hard, and that's helped. Us grow our business. We do a lot of work, in the county with the city.
Yeah.
Trying to stay plugged into the community up there. So it doesn't hurt that you're in a place that's growing and developing and evolving.
That's a fact.
Probably ever since you moved here, it hasn't stopped.
Yeah. I mean, we went through the 2008 downturn. But, for some, we just been very, very fortunate. Even during that downturn, we had enough. But again, it was just me.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a lot. I didn't have a lot of, I have 4 or 5 employees now, plus me. So, there's a lot more work I have to do to
Sure.
keep everybody paid and keep payroll going and everything else. But
how do you manage through the price escalation process? Because for a while there, lumber was going crazy. I don't know. I think it's returned some, but just managing through that when you're dealing with a homeowner, because your contracts, and I haven't ever read one of your contracts, but I'm kind of familiar with the residential contracts versus commercial contracts, where you have the ability to maybe go to that owner and say, hey guys, we got a price increase, and sorry I got bad news, but
yeah, I mean, that's really all you can do. I obviously I have a line in my estimate that's straight contingency,
yeah,
but it's, during that lumber hike, it went out of control. I mean, you were paying on a 3,000 square foot house, you were paying $30,000 for lumber.
wow,
And then a month later, you were paying $60,000 for lumber.
wow.
So
Well, how do you can you lock
No.
that pricing in at all? Or is
You
it
can
just
lock-
at the point of sale, or like when you sell the house, you have I'm sure a commercial relationship with a supplier. Are you able to just call them the next day and be like, lock it in?
yeah, usually they'll hold it for 30 days for me.
Okay.
Based on when
You gotta go pay for it.
Yeah, well, when it's delivered.
Or when it's
When it's yeah. So when it's delivered, they'll usually lock it in. I mean, when the market was moving all over the place, it was 2 weeks. They dropped it down to 2 weeks. So you can't, by the time you sign a contract and everything, that you sign a contract before it even goes to the bank.
Sure.
So how long it takes to go to the bank and get they get the loan set up
figure out
and
the draws and all that stuff.
yeah, they got to do the appraisals. That can take a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I've been bit a few times in that, because I used to get the soil test, get all the engineering done, all that, while I'm waiting for that process to finish.
Yeah.
And you can't really do it anymore unless the homeowner's willing to pay for that stuff up front, and then they can take it out of the loan once it's moved on.
Yeah.
But you really can't, you just can't do it, or else if something happens in the loan through that process and they fall out,
Yeah.
you're left holding the price for the soil test and engineering and everything else, and you're never going to see it again. So I stopped doing that part, and a lot of homeowners will pay for it themselves because they're pretty confident they're going to get the loan and things like that. But back to price escalation, in a 2-month period, like I said, the price of lumber doubled, sometimes tripled last year. So, my contingencies used to be $2,500.
Gobbled up in-
Now they're $15,000.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I did it. I had a few people get caught in that lumber escalation, but it wasn't, we kind of hit it halfway in between. So we were able to find some money in other places and take care of it. I think the most we had one customer had to come out of pocket was maybe $5,000.
That's not bad.
But that's on a $700,000 house. So in the over the long haul, it really wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. One of the parts of your business that's different than a lot of the commercial stuff is the customer is a totally different type of customer.
Oh yeah.
And the I'm not gonna say hand holding, but the attention to that customer, and then the follow up. I've got to think after you've turned over a project, you're
You're not done.
You're not done, right? You're,
Not by any
you're getting
means.
all back.
Yeah.
To come
Well,
by and
yeah, and it's, the callbacks are, completely understandable. Wood is wood.
yeah.
You put a trim board in a certain spot, and that trim board happens to have just the tiniest bit of moisture in it.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, when they turn their heat on, that thing will shrink a little bit, and you got, the caulking will pull loose or something, and you got to go back and fix it and paint it. But it's just part of the game. The other thing about that is a lot of times those folks will call you back and say, hey, we want to do a shop in the back of the house. Can you come and do that for us? Or so it's not all bad
It's not a bad
calls.
call back.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, while you're here, could you just fix this one little thing on the house?
Yeah.
So they're not all bad,
You
and
probably have a
totally
good-
expected.
And you're in every business, you're gonna have that customer you're like, man, I can't wait to get this done. And I am never going over there again. I can't even drive down their street anymore.
Yeah.
But-
I haven't come across that one yet. I've had some that I have to deal with, but that's just life.
Well,
I think.
I think a big part of that is honestly you. You have that personality and that positive can do, will do. I mean, you've bailed me out of I don't know how many issues at my house and otherwise where there's never a no. It's always, I will figure it out, I'll help you, I got a guy, let me come look at it. And I think a lot of that just comes down to attitude and
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The other folk would just, look, I don't have time, I mean, you've helped me out with things that are, it's below bottom rung on the priority. You've got your hands full, but it's always, hey, I'll find a time and I'll swing by, or I'll send my brother over.
Yeah.
Or we'll come take a look at something.
Yep.
And I know that translates into your customers, and then they have the confidence that, look, we may not be happy with something, but we know Doug's gonna come back and he's gonna take care of it.
That's right. That's
And-
exactly
and
right.
Knowing that you're gonna be there, I mean, we have found out, especially now, because things are tough.
Oh, yeah.
With price escalation and material delays and labor issues. But a lot of it comes down to communication. If the folks know you're going to be there, they know you're going to answer the phone, they know you're going to take care of your business. And we hear it all the time from our vendors. We've got vendors that are stressed and strained right now. And if they know you're going to answer the phone and respond and call back, then they can deal with it and manage to it. But
Right.
if they don't, then it escalates.
That's exactly right.
And customers are the same way.
Oh yeah. Yep, for sure. I mean, obviously, and they're living in this place. They're going to,
right?
in commercial, it's the same thing. When our commercial side, it's obviously easier because it's a project.
Yeah.
You're
not
finish
their
it up, you're putting you're just painting the walls a certain color. You're not adding you're not painting a piece of the wall to see if they like that color. You're just painting the walls because that's the color it's going to be. In residential, you're putting a sample on the wall. I kind of like this color, but let's try another one and another one. I did a house for a lady. Well, lady, I shouldn't say lady. It was her and her husband, but she kind of ran the show as far as the house went. But she went in on a weekend when we were not working, and put like a 12 inch by 12 inch or 1 foot by 1 foot sample on every single wall in the house, and not just like a light sample. It was like a dark purple or a black something.
Wow.
We had to come back and prime everything over again in order to cover it up,
Layers of
to
primer
put the
cover
paint,
this
to cover the
black hole up
paint.
on the wall.
Yeah, but it was, I think she had maybe eight or nine different colors in that house.
What are you seeing now? Because I keep hearing this term smart house and technology. How is that affecting you? It seems like a lot of that technology is designed to be able to be installed after the home is in place. Are there systems that do you have to start thinking about this smart technology and how you're building it into the HVAC controls or lighting controls or whatever in the house?
It's all plug and play. I mean, you used to have to, but now really you don't have. You used to have a bridge somewhere where everything would tie into, and it would all
hardwired.
exactly. Now it's just a plug and play, like a switch. You just switch a switch out, and you have an app that controls the light switch.
Okay.
You can tell it when to turn on, tell it when to turn off. Same thing with HVAC. Really anything in the house. I mean, they've got faucets that are touch free where you can tell it, I want to have this much water in this cup, 1 cup exactly for cooking and stuff like that. Yeah, really cool stuff that's out there, but it's nothing that you don't just buy and install.
Okay.
There's nothing you have to think of beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, early on when we had, you want to put your home theater in.
Yeah.
I think you're still running cables in a lot of places, but for a while, the volume of cables that were running everywhere.
Oh yeah,
It was intense.
exactly,
You
because
had
it was
to
the
have a whole room dedicated to all the stereo systems.
Yep.
Now a lot of that's just wireless and it's gone away.
Exactly. I mean, we still have a dedicated spot for all your Cat 6 cables and things like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff has gone remote. Even cameras and things like that. A lot of people are just using battery-operated remote cameras
Sure.
anymore because batteries last long enough that they don't have to change them every 6 months. So makes a big difference. But as far as the automation type stuff, it's all pretty much app-based now. Where somebody tells us, hey, I want to make sure I can control this light, and this light. We just put most of the time, because you never know what type of items people want. There's different brands, and certain people want certain brands. So
Sure.
in spots like that, I just have the folks, I just say, hey, I tell you what, my bid includes the switch. You buy the switch that you want. I'll have my guys put it in for you, but you bring it to the table and we'll take care of it.
There you go.
So it just seems to be easier that way because you never know what you're going to get into.
Yeah. Well, what's in the future for Ashley Homes? What do you guys continue with the model that's been working? Evolution on the horizon, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I bought some property last year. Just got the final development plans done yesterday on a 40 unit duplex plan.
Oh, wow.
Right there, real close to the high school. So we've got a couple of groups that are interested in, buying it from us as we phase it. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of working on that. Kind of trending towards that a little bit. I've got another spot where we have 8 acres. We're kind of doing the same concept. Yeah. I've got a couple of spots up a little bit further, kind of between Conroe and Montgomery, that I've got a couple partners with. We're doing some storage. Okay. And then I've got another partner that we're doing. We got a 50-acre parcel. I'm actually gonna build my house in the front side of it, and then we're gonna parcel out the rest in 3/4 to half-acre lots. Put a lake in, make it look something real high end.
You've been able to mix development into the equation.
Yeah, I've done a couple of small developments. 1-2 acres. This one will be 50. Another one will be 8. This one we just finished is 4, but it's a really cool concept. We took the land, we developed it out, put the road in where we wanted it, set out the duplexes. Really cool community, real close to the high school. I've just gotta get it built out and sold, and then we can move on to the next one. Yeah. So, cool. But those are easier for us. It's more like commercial. Because I don't have to meet with people and go over, hey, this is the kind of tile they want, this is what they want here, this is what they want there. They're just kind of stamped.
The design and cut your team loose.
Right on through, yeah. I've got great, the people that work for me are real good at that. The lady that works in my office, she not only does my, my day-to-day bookwork type stuff, but she also goes out in the field. She's got a real good eye for design type stuff. So she helps people pick their colors and pick their tile and flooring, any type of flooring. She's helped me a lot in the estimating stuff. I've kind of, I have her set where she kind of, can take the square footage and it'll put that in, and it kind of feeds out everything within the estimate. I just have to go in and fill in the blanks that she's not familiar with yet. Exactly. And then I've got my brother that works for me. He does. Really, it was a godsend. I just got real lucky on him being down here and working for me. I used to do a lot of work, and we still do a little bit of work, but we used to do a lot of work for an oil field company. And I knew the owners really well. And my brother lived up in South Dakota, and he was kind of looking for a change, I think. So I told him about that place we worked for, and I talked to the owners, and I'm like, hey, my brother's thinking about moving down here. Would you guys have a spot for him? Because I was still... it was still just me. I was doing fine. I didn't really want to grow too much because, I was pretty comfortable where I was. So he got a job with them, really good job. I mean, they paid him really well. They moved him down here. Everything tied in real good. That was 2014. Yep. And then the market changed in the oil field, just completely crashed. And he worked for him about a year. Then they laid him off.
Well, it's one of my biggest regrets because you called me.
I did. I
And
sure
you were
did.
like, hey,
Yeah.
you should talk to my brother. And at that time, I don't know where I was. I was like, yeah, let me see. We were growing. And I was
Yep.
trying to figure my thing out. And then you brought him on, and he started working with you. And then I called you back later, and I was like, yeah, is your brother still interested? And you're like, no, he's taken up. I got him booked.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
available.
That was the best move I ever made. I can
Not
promise you
available.
right
And I
now.
was like,
Yeah.
dang, I missed out.
I called you and a couple other people too, and I'm like, hey, he's looking for a job. I'm gonna have him work for me until he can find something. But he's just been. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I can guarantee you, because he manages. He's in the field every day, all over, and there's really not much he can't do.
Yeah.
Except maybe estimates.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I want to end with, I want to hear about this hole-in-one.
Oh
I
man.
heard last week,
Yeah.
the stars aligned,
the line
heavens opened,
completely
and golf
unknowingly.
ball,
Yeah.
number 8,
Yeah.
Colorado Country Club.
That's right. It was 100% luck. I can promise you. We had a lot. The parking lot was fuller than I've ever seen it, even on tournament days. And this was just a normal Friday afternoon.
Just a nice weather day.
Nice weather day. It was it was probably in the or low 70s, somewhere like that. Just perfect day. And I was golfing with my plumber that does my commercial plumbing in town, and then a friend of his that I didn't know, and then this other guy that just joined our group. I've never met him before either. He's a member out there, but he was with us. So yeah, it was just pure luck. Just everybody hit. I got up there and hit. The pin was about 10 yards on the front of the green. My ball landed about 5 yards on the front of the green and just trickled up. We watched it just roll, and fall in the hole. I was.
Did you finish the round, or did you go straight to the bar?
No, we finished.
Celebrate?
We finished. On the turn we had our share of drinks that I had to buy, of course. But
Of course.
but yeah, no,
Cool,
it was awesome. Awesome.
Well, congratulations on that, and thanks for coming out, dude. It's been awesome working with you and
Oh,
being
yeah.
friends with you, and we've got plenty of adventures. We'll get into some of those in the future ones. Some
Yeah.
not for the public. But had a lot of good times, and appreciate all the support. So
Oh, yeah.
wish you the best, man.
Yeah,
Thank you very
I appreciate it. Yeah, this is fun.
much. All right, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
You bet.